We have a guest, Francois Theat. He's known in Namibia as a snake specialist. What sorts of snakes would you expect here in the Kalahari?
The first one that comes to mind, and that is synonymous with the Kalahari, is the Cape Cobra. Everyone knows the nice golden coloration they are. And that is quite possibly one of the most dangerous snakes that we find in this area. But in general, very shy snakes that will try to avoid people. And typically where you'll find them is either in weaverbird nests, or they would be down ground squirrel burrows. Often you'll encounter them during the summer months, early in the mornings, out basking.
Are Cape Cobras territorial?
With regards to home range, or with regards to territories, I don't think you can actually define snakes moving around as a territory, because actually they don't, or at least not that we know, they don't actually protect their area from other snakes. You can have multiple snakes within one general area.
The most pressing questions I had recently when I found a Cape Cobra around my house, which does not occur too often, but sometimes it does. When I released it, I was wondering if it would come back to the house.
Yeah, and what's quite interesting about that is because we're doing a big research project on spitting cobras now and looking at the effects of translocation. And I mean, if we're looking at these snakes, they would easily move between 700 meters to a kilometer in a single evening, which is quite far. So whether they will come back, I doubt it. I mean, similar studies have been done on puff adders, and this was one that we did in 2012. And I mean, we relocated these snakes about 300 meters and none of them actually came back. So I don't think that they will come back.
Yeah, the other type of poisonous snake you would typically find here would be the puff adder, right?
Yes. So puff adders are incredibly common in this area, but as they are throughout most of Namibia. It's completely different to Cape Cobras because these snakes are terrestrial. They don't really climb, while Cape Cobras do. Cape Cobras are active hunters. Puff adders are actually ambush hunters. So where Cape Cobras would go out looking for food, puff adders would wait for food to come to them. What's quite interesting about these snakes is that they've evolved this very unique way of hunting. So they have something called cord luring, whereby they take their tails and they would stick it out and wiggle it. This would resemble a worm, which in return will either attract a lizard, mouse, or a bird, and then they seize their prey. Now they've also evolved something else which is quite unique, and that is called chemical crypsis, which basically means that they don't have a scent. So animals like mongoose, meerkat, or any of the other predators will not have the ability to actually sniff them out and get to them, which is probably why they've been so successful.
What advice would you give tourists when they were asking how to best avoid getting bitten?
Well, firstly, I think we need to calm down everyone and just let them know that snakes are not around every single bush or corner waiting for you. So it's actually really hard to find snakes out in the field. Always make sure that you have decent shoes on, because that is a big problem that I see a lot of the times with people walking with flip-flops or whatever the case may be in the veld, and I mean that's just not safe. Preferably loose baggy jeans that also provide some form of protection, and then of course sunglasses for our spitting cobras. But here on Kuzikus you obviously don't have spitting cobras. Always be aware of your surroundings. If you see a rock and a log in your way, don't step over it, or rather step on top of it. You don't know whether something is basking. The other thing that I would say would be very important is always make sure to avoid areas where there's long grass and where you cannot see where you're walking. And if you're walking at night, always make sure that you have a torch with you. So it's very important that you can see where you're placing your feet. And lastly, I mean, just respect snakes. Just respect snakes. Just respect snakes.
So let's say it like that. If you as a tourist come across a snake, you can consider yourself lucky. They are amazing creatures. Let's talk about the importance of snakes.
You know, you look at the ecosystem like a house of cards. And if you remove one card, that entire house collapses. And we all know that snakes play a very important role because number one, they're very good at pest control, keeping rodent population, frogs and birds under control. A lot of animals eat snakes. I know it's not the most popular one, but black-backed jackal actually are really good at controlling snake population, birds of prey, some of your other carnivores like mongoose, meerkats, honey badger, and even leopard and some of your smaller wildcats would eat snakes. So it's a primary food source for other animals. From an economical point of view, snake venom is a hot item in the pharmaceutical industry, and a lot of the medicine that we currently use have been derived from snake venoms.
What are the threats, Francois, to snake populations?
One of the biggest issues that we have, especially in an expanding city like Windhoek, is habitat destruction and fragmentation. That leads to more conflict, and that leads to more people potentially killing snakes. But that's a problem across Namibia. A lot of these animals are unfortunately killed because of lack of knowledge on them or a lack of understanding. Another threat, of course, is we do have issues with illegal collecting in the country, where, for example, a lot of guys from South Africa, from the US or from Europe would come in and collect certain species of value and then obviously smuggle them out.
Okay, thank you very much, Francois.
Anytime, it was a pleasure talking.